Figured it'd be a good morning to do a quick garden tour. It's not a very big garden, and it's mostly containers, but here we go. Just added this section here by my arborvitaes. Just some sage and cucumbers, catnip, dill, pretty small stuff still right now. I just transplanted that in there. Along the fence over there, I have some vining flowers, some nasturtium at the end. All along the back of the fence, I have beans, pole beans, that are just starting to vine up the fence there. That'll be cool. I spread some kale seeds around on the ground too, so they're starting to pop up a little bit. This is my random cinder block garden. Sunflowers in the front. Some herbs, catnip, dill. And then we have some cucumbers, a cucumber plant here, just one, with some baby cucumbers. Little baby strawberry plant, some more kale coming up, and herbs. I just throw seeds around sometimes. Here's some peppers. Another baby pepper plant. Well, not so much a baby anymore, but compared to that one. And 3 tomato plants right here in this brick raised bed. These are sun golds. That's all I'm growing this year because they're our favorite. Doing pretty good. I grew these from seed. Same with this pepper plant there, and all the herbs and stuff there, and the cucumber plant. That's all from seed. And here we have corn, and another brick bed I made. It's doing really well. It's taller than all the corn around here in the cornfields, which is pretty cool. I guess these are where the pollen comes from. They look pretty sweet. They're taller than me now. Some onions here. I was gonna fill this whole thing up, but at the time when I planted the onions, I ran out of soil because I was making other beds. So next year I'll fill it up all the way and grow some carrots in there maybe. Our basil plant, which we've harvested from a lot. We make tomato, mozzarella, basil a lot, and then I made pesto with it. So this thing was huge, and it's just starting to grow back now. And then we got 2 more tomato plants. This is the bottom of a garbage can that I cut in half. This is a wooden raised bed I made with scraps from our fence over there. So in the early spring, I planted potatoes in here. I got a pretty good potato harvest from just this bed here. And then once I ripped them up the same day, I just went out and bought some plants from the nursery. They're having a sale, so I got cabbage and parsley plants. And then there's also a bunch of other random stuff in this bed. Along the border, there's cucumbers I grew from seed. Then throughout here, I have beets growing, just randomly throughout. The cabbage is looking pretty good right now. And then over here, this is a perennial garden from last year, basically. This is a giant kale plant that went to seed. I have so many kale seeds, that's why I'm just spreading them out all over. Then some thyme, and then arugula that's just spreading out. I started a little patch over there, and it's moving its way over here. Some sage, and some baby kale coming up from the seeds. Over here, little baby kale. I was pruning my tomato plants yesterday and took out some suckers, and I just put them in the dirt, so those will grow. I don't know how big they'll get this year since it's already July, but might have a little bit at the end of the season. You never know. Back there we have an eggplant, and the coolest thing ever, I think, is this pea plant, which came from a pea shoot. It was just in the package with the pea shoots, and there was some root. There was still the seed attached to it. It had roots, so I just planted it, and we're getting peas pretty regularly, even in the middle of the summer. It puts off these really cool purple and pink flowers. So, kind of upset I used this straw to mulch with, because there's some seeds in it, and now I have weeds in all my pots. But I learned a lesson there. Okay, here we just have some pots in the middle of my patio. This is bay leaf, bay laurel, which is a perennial. It can survive out in the winter, but I'm going to take it inside this winter, well, probably every winter, and just keep it as a potted plant. Eggplants, which I bought from a nursery here as little starters. All the tomatoes I did from seed. Here's some more sun golds in pots. Another seed pot I started from seeds, some more dill, and another pepper plant. I'm not sure exactly what variety I grew. There's some sort of sweet, but they're smaller sweet peppers. And then over here I just have a couple strawberry plants, which gave us quite a few strawberries this spring. And then some oregano and marjoram. And lastly, I have a cross I'm growing in. And I have beets, which I just harvested all the greens from to make a salad yesterday, or 2 days ago now, so it doesn't look like much there, but those are all beets, 2 rows of beets, and then nasturtium and more cucumbers in the back growing up the fence. And that's a cherry tree back there. This is my garden so far. Behind the cherry tree you can see a giant mound, which is our septic system. When we first moved in, we didn't have that, and I had a garden, a little tiny garden back in the corner. and I was gonna expand it out in this area actually, and then we found out we were having septic problems with with the system we had when we moved in, so we had to get a new system right when we bought this house, and we ended up with this giant mound because our yard gets so wet when it rains. We have such a high water table, so a normal system wouldn't work, and also a normal garden doesn't work in most parts of our yard. Even this cherry tree is gets too wet there. It's doing alright, but it's not the best spot for it. Also over here, this was a fire pit when we bought the house, and it wasn't looking too good. I just took the bricks down and left the cinder block. Just ran out of space there, but I was saying it was a fire pit, and I left the cinder blocks that were buried in the ground there as just a border for the bed. That's mint and orange balm, and then a bunch of weeds, and there's some chamomile grown in there, and I had some lavender and catmint in there, but it didn't really come back good this spring, so I don't know about that, but this is the garden. I appreciate you sticking through the video if you watched all the way. Again, most of everything here has to be in raised beds because the ground gets so wet. We've been getting a lot of rain lately, and like you can see, just surface. There's water on the surface of the ground in a lot of places, and it's just so squishy. I have a drain for our trees because we planted these arborvitaes here, and then realized it gets super wet. Like you can see our neighbor's yard. There's a puddle right there. So they're not. This tree here, actually, part of it died, and it came back a little, or down here, but they're not loving it here, unfortunately. So yeah, we gotta do everything raised up in containers, but we can grow anywhere. Wet lake. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.